Quickly, I see we have a lot of questions, and I wanted to just bring them to your attention. Dear speakers, I see there's a question for Clement on the value of flowers for food, and if you're considering diversification, food and flowers. I see also another question for Dr. Lusike on what are the prerequisites needed to engage with global agriculture and food systems, such as India, that has been working on technology innovation in agriculture for over 50 years. I also see a comment from Nancy Onyango on COVID has come with challenges, but also lessons. What strategies is the government adopted to ensure national preparedness and responses to one food supply systems, as it were too much was or has been left to take course as opposed to informed, targeted, and guided interventions processes? What are the sustainable mechanisms that have been put in place going forward, and how well have these mechanisms been integrated in scope, systems, and structures? I believe some of these were mentioned by our PS in the morning, but I'd like Dr. Wasilwa to weigh in on this. I also see there's a question around, let me just quickly skim through. Also a question for Leah, how and what do you measure for impact in terms of food security? And are you working with government bodies to share your findings? You mentioned that you're working in collaboration with various counties. And also there are other questions coming in. We are also streaming live on Facebook. And thank you very much for everyone who's joining us live on Facebook. We were trending in the morning. The Mashariki Summit hashtag was trending in the morning. And we want to thank you so much for your support and for keeping the conversations on fire on Twitter and also on Facebook. There's also a question on, there's a question to, I think, all the panelists, is circular agriculture and subsistence farming the answer to a food insecurity situation in Kenya? And yeah, I think I'd like to stop at that and perhaps go back to our panelists, and maybe we look at the subject of, yeah, the question that we have on is circular agriculture and subsistence farming the answer to a food insecurity situation in Kenya? So maybe if we start with Dr. Wasilwa.
Okay. 80% of our farmers are subsistence farmers, so we can't run away from that. But we're trying to change this so that even if your land is so small, what can you grow on your land so that you move from subsistence to more business or commercial orientation? For example, you can't have a commercial farm on 1/10 of an acre, but on 1/10 of an acre, you can grow crops like strawberry, these are the high value crops like the herbs, and actually be able to earn a living. And then even how you grow them, it doesn't have to always be horizontal. You can also grow vertically and then utilize different inputs to maximize production and productivity in that unit area of land. The problem with Kenyans is that we are very comfortable growing maize and sugarcane, you know, where they have absolutely no value. This year I was able to convince my parents that they'll make more money growing diverse foods, like instead of just maize. Now they were growing beans, they grew finger millet, they grew cowpea for the leaves. So now what happens, at different times of the year, you're having different revenue streams coming in, not waiting for the whole year to harvest your maize to sell. So my mom began first by selling mangoes. Okay, those ones were on the farm. Then she began to sell cowpea leaves. From the cowpea leaves, it now went to beans. Beans is still going on. But as beans are going on, the finger millet harvest is coming. She's preparing that to sell. So you're seeing different, of course, this is a large farm. This is not very large, but it's 100 acres and it's completely different. So if farmers in Kenya are able to go to what you guys could hear me saying, the crop selector. Go to crop selector. It's a mobile application that has been developed by Calro. and go there and put in your county, your sub-county, and your location where you're at, and then you ask, what can I grow here? And crop selector will give you the options of what crops you can grow. Of course, we're improving these apps so that you can now, we go on to other apps that show you how you can value add them. Then there are other apps where we're partnering with other people, the marketing apps. Where do you market this from? You know? Yeah, where do you market the crop you're growing? How do you utilize? Because somebody grows finger millet and they're not used to eating finger millet. How do you utilize finger millet so that it's palatable? You know, finger millet, people think it's always just ugali, but you can make very good porridge out of it. And then people in Western, they're making busa, so some alcoholic beverages out of it. And then now we even have a company that is doing ready to eat finger millet. So you just take a sachet of finger millet, add hot water, stir it, and you're drinking your porridge. Can you imagine the innovations that are there, the value added technologies? So Calro is not the only one that can provide this. We work with several partners, but right now, if you go to the mobile applications, if you go to our website, there is so much information. And don't go and then a month later thinking, that is all. No, 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 no. We have a lot of innovations. We have technologies for 19 value chains right now, 765 different technologies. So when you go in there, it tells you use these technologies or innovations to help you improve your farming, okay? We have innovations for propagation, step by step. If you want to graft an avocado, how do you do that? If you want to graft a mango, how do you graft macadamia? Step by step with pictures. We've made them idiot-proof, made them user-friendly. And if there's something missing, please, these are electronic documents we can edit and provide you the information you require so that you are growing the best crops, the best variety, and you're optimizing production and productivity per unit area, however small. For example, farmers, when they grow bananas, they'll plant 10 bananas. Yet, if you want banana to be commercial, the minimum size, the commercial unit for banana is 100 plants. If you plant 100 bananas, then now you'll move from subsistence to now business, to commercial, just 100. So now the issue here is to see how we can move our farmers from growing just subsistence or growing the wrong crop, but to grow the correct one. You can plant banana, sell the bananas, and go and buy maize. You don't have to keep on planting maize, you know? And if it's maize, why don't you grow the maize that are high in nutrition? The provitamin A, the maize, the yellow maize, the red maize. Why don't you plant something more nutritious, something more unique that is even better and even will command higher money if you actually mill it and package it? And we have a Kenya Bureau KEBS that you can get certification and be able to sell this value added. So there are many options. And if the internet or the apps are too intimidating, they are also human beings. Talk to us. My number is online. Talk to us, and we'll be able to see how to talk to you and deal with you on a one-on-one. We're here to serve. Thank you.
Maybe if we have contributions from Leah on the same question. Leah, are you still with us? On the question, if circular agriculture and subsistence farming is the answer to our food insecurity in Kenya?
Of course, I know Dr. Lusike, and she does an amazing job. And I just comment to say that the answer to food and nutrition security is not in one area. It is in what we nowadays call the food system. We cannot have food if it is not going to be grown. And so we need to listen more to what Dr. Lusike is saying. In terms of actually diversifying what is being grown, the Minister of Agriculture, I'm sure the peers must have said that in the morning, has really been insisting on agri-nutrition what do we call it? Forgetting the term. Nutrition sensitive agriculture, yes. Where the food that is being grown, it's thought about by our researchers like Dr. Lusike and others right from the beginning in terms of its nutritional value. So I'll say yes, that is very important. However, again, we are not specialists at that level of food production. We are specialists of food from when it leaves the farm, and that is where we have to speak with all the partners that work on the farm to make sure that the food is grown in a safe and nutritious manner. And of course, there is food security. Food security is just having enough food. Nutrition security is different. And our concern becomes the food that is being grown. Is it just for food security? Is it just for filling our stomachs, or is it nutritious? And so I'm also answering the previous question that I was asked. Again, so we are not measuring food security. We're actually looking at nutrition security that we measure by increased consumption of micronutrients. Hidden hunger. A lot of us are eating enough food, a lot of food, but we are not eating the necessary micronutrients. So we need to grow varieties of food. We need to process and produce varieties of food. We need to ensure that they contain the right micronutrients that we need for our body. The zincs, the ions, etc., etc. That is what we need to check in the food that we are eating. And that is what we measure at GAIN. And simply said, it's just a matter of looking at improving the diet to make it more diversified. It's beyond balance, not what we call balanced diet. Diversification means that you are able to access the various nutrients from food in the different kinds of foods you eat. And if we can confirm that consumers are responding to that, they're demanding, they're buying, they're eating, they're preparing, they're cooking well. I'm sure Dr. Lusike would talk about the vegetables and the other speaker. You know, the right food, it's being cooked well so that the micronutrients remain. Then we will be addressing the question, especially of nutrition security. And of course, we are not ignoring the fact that some parts of the country still have food insecurity, and that still needs to be addressed, but it needs to be addressed with a nutrition sensitive perspective. So not just consumption of maize, and I'm glad that she has emphasized on that. Consumption of various foods that contain various micronutrients. That is what I would say for now.
Thank you very much, Leah, for your comments.